Oh no! I think I'm hooked! Hey everyone, welcome back to Andrew's Wizardly Reads, and as always, I am Andrew, and today guys, I've got another book review for you. But before we get to that book review, make sure you are liking and subscribing and hitting that bell notification so you can get regular updates from when I put out new content. Post every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. That said, guys, this is a book that I am super excited to talk about. I am going to try and keep this non-spoiler because this is basically a Gush review. Not specifically on this book, but the series. Because basically I read this book and then blew on to the sequel. Like, just right on through. So that's it, guys. It is going to be Will Wight's Unsouled Book 1, or actually it says Volume 1 in the Cradle series. And this is book popcorn. This is anime in book form. Basically, if you take the premise, or the structure, I should say, of Dragon Ball Z, boil it down to its absolute base of, hey, I'm gonna go fight stronger people that are stronger than me and beat them, you get the Cradle series. And it's absolutely fascinating. I'm gonna read the blurb on the back real quick. And it says, if everyone's magic comes from their soul, what happens if you don't have one? Sacred artists follow 1,000 paths to power, using their souls to control the forces of the natural world. Lyndon is unsouled, forbidden to learn the sacred arts of his clan. When faced with a looming fate he cannot ignore, he must rise beyond everything he's ever known and forge his own path. And that is basically this book in a nutshell. It's not super long. This is a one day to this is a 2-sitter read max. And it's so good, guys. I ended up giving this about a 4.5 out of 5, specifically just because there's a specific trope in here that I'm not a super big fan of. I don't really like the bully archetype and or trope. And so, I mean, that does make a small appearance in here, so it just kind of brought it down just a hair, in my opinion. But, I mean, structurally, it's very, very well paced. It moves along really well. It's got great characters. It's got an interesting story to tell. But earlier I mentioned that this was like book popcorn. And what I mean by that is if you're looking for like an expansive world or lots of info dumps and exposition and like really dense and slow prose, no, that's not what this is. This is almost an ultimate palate cleanser. Unlike, I've reached for Discworld books for palate cleansers. And those are kind of like funny palate cleansers. This is just that was good. 4.5 stars out of 5. Lyndon's a great character. He is literally, his entire character is basically, people have told him his entire life, you're nothing. I mean, like at the beginning of the book, he takes the test to tell him his affinity for what Madra is the magic system here. And I'm still kind of understanding Madra, but basically you've got like forgers, and you've got soulsmiths, and like you've got strikers, and rulers, and all these different techniques within the Sacred Valley where Lyndon lives determines kind of what you do throughout your life. And when Lyndon goes to take the test, nothing happens. So basically he doesn't have an affinity, and he is deemed unsouled, lowest of the low. Basically, he is a burden on his clan. At 15 years old, basically he's being forced to interact with like the 9 to 11-year-olds. Lyndon is treated like garbage because he's unsouled, and he really wants more for his life. Like his entire drive is to just reach Copper, which is the level right above Unsouled. Or Copper is basically like the base level. So like, within Sacred Valley, the way it goes is basically Unsouled, which is very rare. Like, Lyndon's the only one in the valley. And then it goes Copper, Iron, Jade. Yeah. Copper, Iron, Jade. And, like, Lyndon would be happy if he could just reach Copper, so that he is allowed to marry. Like, he's not even allowed to procreate for fear that he will pass on his deficiency. And so Lyndon starts out in a very, very bad place here. Like the back of the book says, an event happens, and basically Lyndon is told of basically given a prophecy of something that is going to befall the Sacred Valley. And so he has to make a choice of, does he stay here and hope to one day surpass the Unsouled state, or will he strike out from the valley, which no one has ever done before, or in like 100 generations, and become stronger in the savage world outside of the Sacred Valley. And that's kind of that's literally the entire structure of this book. Like that, from start to finish, it is Lyndon. We meet Lyndon, and it's him making that decision to leave Sacred Valley. And the way that Lyndon wins all of his fights is also super cool. Because he's so weak, he has to use trickery. He has to use his wits. It's so fascinating. And it's weird. Like, other than manga, this is the closest thing to, I think, an anime manga style that you can get in the written word. Because literally, he's just constantly fighting people stronger than him, leveling up, making friends, getting kicked down. It's really, really interesting. The funny story about this is, I remember Patrick covered this book, I think, like, last year. It was towards the beginning of Patrick's channel. And I was like, oh, cool. And, like, I downloaded a sample of it, and I didn't make it past the first chapter. I was like, oh, it's good, but it's not going to blow my mind. Well, I was wrong. If I had a crow here, I'd eat it. I've already read the second book, Soulsmith, which I will do another review for that a little later. And Soulsmith was a 5 out of 5 for me as well. Just a quick peek ahead. But, I mean, just the way that this is going is just going to constantly ratchet up. Oh, it is so good. Plus, I still got to thank my friend Boiled Jellyfish for sending me the first two in physical copy. I absolutely love them. And, I mean, I'm so happy to have finally read this. I can't believe I waited so long. Just everything that happens in this book is happening for a reason. Lyndon makes smart decisions. For somebody in his situation, you would be like, oh, that's a dumb decision. But if he's going to get stronger, he has to take risks. And he is constantly taking smart risks, which I really, really appreciated. And, I mean, guys, for something that's only 280 pages max, just the absolute level of satisfaction that I got out of this book shot the entire series way up my TBR. Like, literally, I am going to start reading one a month, or at least try to just catch up on the series. I am in love with this. Good characters, good structure, great story, and it's also got a little bit of an element that I haven't really seen before in fantasy. It brings in, like, this, like, astral plane and or, like, angelic fantasy structure of, like, interstellar, interdimensional beings. And it's really, really cool because it'll break it up with, like, a requested report from one of these beings. And so it's just really, really interesting. I cannot recommend this enough to pretty much everybody. I don't know anybody that I would recommend to not pick this up. Not only is it short, it's action-packed. It's got a very likable character, someone who's easy to root for. It's got an interesting story to tell. And, I mean, it was fantastic. So, let me know in the comments down below what you thought of Unsouled. I mean, I've been told this is the weakest entry in the all 9 books that are currently out. I think it's going to be a 12-book series. But if this is the weakest, I am just so excited. I am so excited. If this is the worst the series has to offer, bring it. That said, like I said, let me know in the comments down below what you thought of Unsouled, if you're willing to pick up Unsouled, when you're planning on picking up Unsouled. And yeah, just chat with me in the comments, or better yet, just check the description down below for the link to the Whistler Duo Discord, and jump on in and talk to me. I would love to talk to you about it. Till next time, guys. Peace out. Stay magical. Bye.